What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So yesterday we see some breaking news about Manchester City. They could be facing some serious punishment for the 115 charges that have been allegedly put on them from the Premier League. And the verdict for that ended, or not the verdict, the hearing for it rather ended in December of 2024. And now we're starting to see reports of what could possibly happen to Man City, along with one of the stories of the season, Bodo Glimt, a Norwegian side that is making a fairy tale run in the Champions League. With the results they picked up recently and who they just knocked out, are we seeing a Cinderella run in the Champions League, or are they just getting lucky at the end of the day? Also, we're going to get into a little bit more about Tottenham. Reports coming out that they're ready to get rid of Igor Tudor if results don't turn around quickly because they don't want to get relegated. And I'm going to tell you why that would be the wrong move to make at this point in the season. So if you like these videos, man, drop a like, comment, get engaged in the comment section. I got a question to ask you guys. Who do you guys think is going to win this season's Champions League? Let me know in the comment section down below, please. And without further ado, we're going to get started in talking about the fairy tale run that Bodo Glimt is having in the Champions League. So, Inter Milan, Champions League finalists last season, 2 of the past 3 finals in the Champions League. Unfortunately, wasn't lucky enough to beat Man City in the Champions League in 2023, I believe. And last season get absolutely ripped to shreds against PSG, where it was over in the first half and they never had a chance of even getting a goal in that game because PSG were just so dominant last season. But they walked into this knockout tie playing against a team that in the league phase went to, and I'm going to pull it up on screen now. The good results started when they got the 2-2 draw against Dortmund, but they also lost to Monaco. They lost to Juve. They drew against Tottenham, which everybody somehow gets points against Tottenham nowadays. And then you start seeing the 4 straight wins in the Champions League. They beat Man City, where Man City were already through, didn't have much to worry about, but they still beat Man City, a team that is in form right now, a team that is trying to catch Arsenal in the Premier League. They go to Atletico Madrid and put in a stellar performance, get 2 goals there, win 2-1. Then they play Inter Milan at home. When I say that I've seen some beautiful football this season, this is one of the teams right here that every time that I'm seeing their games or I put on the highlights, it's just beautiful to watch. And the second goal they scored yesterday was, in my opinion, one of the top 3 goals of this season. How the guy is able to have the vision to find that pass for the second goal, and the finish itself was just spectacular, man. And that's something that you're doing this for every single time, man, because they're playing with house money. They're playing like they have nothing to lose, and that's what you want teams nowadays to play with freedom, being able to express themselves and not being afraid to take a chance or take a risk. It doesn't matter which stadium you're going to at the end of the day. They're picking up results and they're doing something that nobody expected them to do. I saw something before I hit the record button. They had a 95% chance of being eliminated in match week 8 of the Champions League phase. And they found a way to get the result against Atleti. And now they're in the round of 16 in the Champions League. I think they're a dark horse to get to at least the quarterfinals, right? At least to the next round. But if they get a big team, I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying I would pick them, but I would not be surprised if they find a way to get a result away from home. right? If they have to host the first leg and they get a draw, I would not be surprised if they go to, say, I don't know who they're able to draw, but if they get a big team in the round of 16, I would not be surprised in the second leg if they find a way to get that result, because they went to Inter Milan where Inter played terrible in the first leg, but they had to come out firing in the second leg, and they had opportunities in the first half. But when you're not clinical in front of goal and you give teams a lifeline, you see what happens. And it's just an incredible story. It reminds me of Monaco a few seasons ago, or I think it was the 2018 or 2019 Champions League season where they got to the semifinals. They were incredible. And this is what this is reminding me of. Like, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section about this fairy tale run that they're going on right now, and how far do you think Bodo Glimt will actually go in the Champions League? My prediction, I think they get to the quarterfinals, and then I think that's where it ends. But you never really know, right? You never know. That's the beauty of the Champions League. You can get a magical run, and everybody wants to see them see how far they could progress. My opinion is a quarterfinals, but you never know. Morocco got to the semifinals of the World Cup and were, I believe, within a penalty shootout of getting to the final. So anything can happen in this sport. So in the next part of this video, I'm segueing into Manchester City, what they're going to be dealing with if these 115 charges are actually going to be implemented on them. And the punishment that they could be facing is very severe, and it could effectively ruin that club for the foreseeable future. So let's get into that. So as a Chelsea fan, right, we're all aware of the 70-odd charges that are levied over our head right now. And from what we're hearing, it's not going to be any points taken away from us. It's going to be a fine, a very hefty fine at that. But what Man City, right, what Manchester City, a club that's been near the top of the table, winning silverware, Premier League titles, Champions Leagues, FA Cups, League Cups, you name it, they have won it. The Club World Cup, I believe they won as well. But what they're about to deal with is something that is unprecedented in the history of the sport, I believe, right? We all remember when Rangers got relegated to, I think, the second division or the third division in Scotland, and they had to work their way back up, right, into the Scottish Premiership. And if there's any fans in Scotland that are watching this, right, and that are Rangers fans, could you guys in the comment section let me know what that experience was like as a fan to watch your team get relegated all the way down to the lowest tier and work their way back up? What Man City now are facing is pretty substantial, man. And we're going to get into that right now by pulling this little thing up right here. It says breaking. Man City could be handed a massive 40 to 60 point deduction, a punishment that would instantly send them out of the Premier League if they are ruled guilty of the 115 financial fair play charges, right? And then we also have this right here, exclusive. Liverpool could be awarded 2 Premier League titles if Man City are found guilty, of the 115 charges. Under Jurgen Klopp, the Reds finished as runner-up in 2 of the most heartbreaking title races in history, 2018-19, which they were going neck and neck that season, right? I think Man City finished with 98, Liverpool finished with 97. Liverpool lost 1 match all season in the Premier League, right? Still the record for the most points without winning the Premier League. And in 21-22, 92 points, pipped by just 1 point on the final day. We all remember Ilkay Gundogan scoring the game-winning goal that year to win Man City the title in in my opinion, was so fucking scripted, bro. It was just scripted because they wanted to make the same moment when they stole it from Manchester United back in 2012. We all understand what they were doing there. Should City be found guilty and hit with the expulsion or relegation, those two titles would be handed to Liverpool. History would completely be rewritten. And, you know, I don't know if they're able to strip the titles off of Man City, but if they are, Arsenal still haven't won anything in that time period. I mean, I'm trying to take a jab at these Arsenal fans, man, because we play you guys on Sunday, but it's all fun and games. But Man City, it's looking pretty dire, man. I mean, if they're found guilty of these 115 charges, they're not going to be in the Premier League. And you have to take that action. Like a 40 to 60 point deduction. I mean, when does that take effect, right? You're not going to do it this season, are you? Because I imagine they're going to make that kind of ruling given that there's an actual title race going on, and you're not just going to hand Arsenal the title at that point, right? I mean, if they do it this season, then yeah, Arsenal are for sure going to win the Premier League, right? But when would that ruling actually take effect if they're found guilty and we actually hear that come out? When would that take effect? At the start of next season? Like, you instantly relegate them and you start them off on negative 40 or negative 60 points? Bro, Man City would be in absolute ruins. And do they deserve that? I mean, if you're doing stuff like, if you're giving players undisclosed contracts and you're faking sponsorships, then I mean, and you're not being completely honest with all the revenue that you're bringing in and that you're pushing out, then I mean, yeah, you deserve to be relegated. You deserve to be punished to whatever the Premier League, UEFA, or FIFA want to impose on you. But holy shit, man, 60 points, 40 to 60 points. I mean, where do City go from here if that's true? Where do Man City go? Are these players gonna stay? If they get relegated down to say League 2, right? None of these players are gonna want to play in League 2. For what? There's no exposure. There's no European football. Like, those players are going to want to leave, and Man City is going to be in absolute ruins. Now, I despise Man City. I'm not a Man City fan. I don't even hate them. I just don't like them. Right? I hate Arsenal. I hate Tottenham. Right? I hate Barcelona. Right? But Man City is, if they're out of the Premier League, I mean, will the Premier League be fine if Manchester City's not in it? In my opinion, they're too big of a brand now, but Man City has a lot to do with that. Winning the Premier League like 5 out of the 7 years recently, and just perennially a Champions League team. But they get relegated, it's over for them. Like, you can consider that club dead and buried. What Rangers had to go through, I believe it was in 2012, was they got relegated down to the 3rd tier in Scottish football and worked their way back up. They got themselves back into contention for winning the Scottish Premiership, and they've done it, right? Steven Gerrard's gone there and won it, right? I think Ange Postecoglou was also there, won the Scottish Premier League title, right? Like, Rangers came back up. Now, the Scottish Premiership is nowhere near the same quality as the Premier League. Don't get that twisted. But what I'm saying is, if teams like that have the determination to come back up and work their way back up, Man City and these owners are going to have to do something like that, not just to save the club, but to also save their skin too, because now they're going to be seen as frauds at the end of the day. And, excuse me, Jesus Christ. as much as I don't like Man City, I don't want to see them get relegated. But if they are found guilty of it, then shame on you guys. Shame on you guys. I mean, it's unfair, but you guys would deserve every single bit of that 40 to 60 point deduction if you're found guilty of all 115 charges, because we've seen Everton get points docked, we've seen Wolves get points docked, we've seen Forest get points docked, we've seen teams in the Championship, Sheffield Wednesday, right? They're on -7 points and are guaranteed to go down to League One. And it's the earliest that a team has ever been relegated in the Championship, right? To be on -7 points for having some of the same issues that a lot of these other Premier League clubs are having with financial fair play issues, right? Profit and sustainability issues, right? That's the problem, is that clubs in the lower tiers, it's harder to get revenue in, and it's harder to get money in and actually be able to keep your club afloat. And that's why you're seeing a lot of clubs now no longer exist, or they just get expelled because there's not enough money coming in and you can't even pay the players anymore, and the players aren't going to want to play for free, right? So Man City could be in huge trouble, man, and we'll see what happens. I think the actual verdict and the ruling for this is going to come out at the end of the season, but let me know your guys' thoughts on Man City and the possibility of a 40 to 60 point deduction, the stripping of 2 Premier League titles, which I don't know if they can do that, but if they do that, then damn. Let me know your guys' thoughts on Man City, everything that I've talked about, because honestly, it's not looking good, bro. But the last part of this video, I'm going to speak on Spurs and how they're looking ready to just sack Igor Tudor when he just walked in, right? But we have some things that I need to talk about when it comes to that, man, because I find that to be ridiculous. So I spoke about Tottenham in my last video and just how much of a mess they are and the real risk of them not being in the Premier League for next season. And if results continue the way they are, then they're going to find themselves in the relegation zone. And West Ham and Forest are going to be the ones that are going to be staying in the Premier League. And Spurs would be going down with Wolves and Burnley to the Championship, right? Like, we remember, for all my older heads there, or people that are around like my age, right? We remember when Spurs were generally in and around that lower half of the table, not going to get relegated, but in that lower half of the table where there was a risk of them being relegated, right? But they always found a way to be around 10th, 11th, 12th, right? This is the worst I've seen Tottenham be in such a long time. Yeah, they were bad last season, but I think they're worse this season, right? And it's coming out now that for some reason, and he just walked into the job, and we've seen the reaction of a few of the players on the pitch when he's trying to give instruction. It's not a good look, right? So we pull up this thing right here, right? It says breaking. Tottenham's board could sack Igor Tudor. If the poor results continue, the club already has other options ready. With relegation a real risk, Spurs know they can't afford any more setbacks. But sacking Igor Tudor would just be another setback. Who's going to come in, a big-time manager, unless you're going after like Sam Allardyce, right? But even then, Sean Dyche, he's available, right? Could you imagine Sean Dyche in Tottenham? Oh my God, that would be cinema. I honestly, Sean Dyche in Tottenham. Oh, bro, that would be absolute cinema. And honestly, I hate Tottenham, but like I would want him to go there because I feel like he would actually do a job at Spurs. I would like to see Sean Dyche in Tottenham are seen as a Big Six club. I would like to see him at a more higher level Premier League club to see what he can actually do with better players around him. Yeah, he had the Everton job for a little bit, and he even had the Forest job, right? But I don't think he was ever really given a fair chance at both of those jobs, if I'm being honest. He got sacked by Forest earlier in the season, and even with Everton, yeah, like he wasn't picking up wins, but Everton also weren't really losing as much either, right? So at the end of the day, sacking Igor Tudor is not going to solve Tottenham's problems. Tottenham's problems are more internal, higher level, and the players on the pitch are just not matching the transfer fees that they were being brought in for. Xavi Simons is one case specifically where Chelsea were linked with him. He was waiting for the call, but Chelsea never picked up the phone. And now it's looking like it's a good thing that we didn't do that, right? But sacking Igor Tudor now is not going to do anything. I mean, he came out and basically ripped him up by saying, like, do any of these players have ambition? Do they care enough? Does the club care enough? Do you want to stay in this position? Now, his other coaching spots, he doesn't last long. That's his problem. He doesn't last long wherever he goes. And yes, he's there on an interim basis, but at the same time, if you've been around the block a few times and you've seen how other clubs are ran, and then you come to Tottenham and other managers like Conte, Jose Mourinho, Ange Postecoglou, who came out and said it's the antithesis of Tottenham, bro. Like, the wage structure there isn't that great, right? You have multi-million-dollar facilities being built at that club, and it's not even being utilized properly because you're seeing all the results on the pitch, and it's terrible. It's like, I don't like Tottenham fans either, but I feel bad for them because you have a beautiful stadium, you have passionate fans that want to go there and back their team, and then your greatest rival goes to your stadium and rips you apart in the second half, right? It's just despicable. And a lot of it isn't even on Igor Tudor, man. It's on the board. It's on the players. And the players just seem like they don't care anymore, right? And this is why there's a real risk of them being relegated. If they get relegated, I keep on saying, they're not coming back up right away. A lot of the players are going to want out. They're going to leave. Could you imagine a scenario in the middle part of this video where I said Man City could face a 40 to 60 point deduction? Could you imagine a scenario where next season Tottenham and Man City aren't in the Premier League? That would be outrageous, dude. Outrageous. But we'll see what happens, man. I mean, we'll know by May if we'll know by the end of May if Tottenham are going to stay in the Premier League or if they're going to be relegated. And if they're relegated and Arsenal win the league, bro, and it's poisonous to even say that, man. I hate saying that, but if Arsenal win the league this year and Tottenham get relegated, bro, it would be a movie. It would be a movie, bro. It would be a movie, but I'm not here for Arsenal winning the league whatsoever, but it's a real possibility, man. But let me know your guys' thoughts on Tottenham, on Man City, on the Champions League run that Bodo Glimt is going on right now. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Get engaged in the comment section. Drop a like, share. My shorts should have been popping up throughout the video. Outside of that, I'm Jason. This is No Filter Chelsea. Up the Chelsea. My preview for Arsenal versus Chelsea on Sunday will be uploaded on Saturday. I just hope there's a good performance, man. You don't know how much it would mean if we find a way to get a result at the Emirates, bro. Oh, my God. But I'll save that preview for Saturday. Let me know your guys' thoughts on everything that I talked about. Drop a like, share, comment. Sub if you haven't. I appreciate all the love lately. I'm out of here. Peace.